Once again, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the World Federation of Diamond Bourses Presidents Meeting 2024. We have a busy schedule and program today that'll keep you on the edge of your seats, I believe. We're going to be dealing with the three big topics that are affecting the diamond industry at the beginning of this year, the year of the dragon. And those are the potential and growth of the Chinese market that we'll be discussing in a panel discussion in the morning after the opening ceremony. In the afternoon, we'll be tackling that big issue of the G7 sanctions and measures that are being put into place relating to diamonds from Russia. And of course, our favorite topic, being the third big area of interest for the industry, is lab-grown diamonds and how it relates to the diamond industry, the natural diamond industry, and the broader jewelry industry. And we are very privileged and lucky to have an old friend of ours, a very familiar face within the industry, address that topic of lab-grown diamonds and the natural diamond industry this morning before our opening ceremony to get the program started. Mahiar Borhanjoo is the president of UNI Luxury Group, and he has a vast experience in the diamond industry, beginning with his work at De Beers Group, reporting to the CEO of the Diamond Trading Company, and then moving on to Venus Jewel, a high-profile diamond manufacturer in India, before taking on the role of president and CEO of UNI Diamonds and UNI Luxury Group. So Mahiar is well positioned and certainly has the experience and knowledge and understanding to deal with this complicated topic. I'd like to invite Mahiar to address the audience and the meeting this morning on lab-grown and the natural diamonds. Please, Mahiar.
Hello. Can you guys hear me? Okay, you can hear me now. Hello, everyone. So nice to be here in Shanghai, even for the short amount of time that I'm going to be here. Sadly, I'll be leaving right after this presentation, but at the end of the presentation, I've put something where it will allow you to be able to reach out to me should you need to. I'm going to be talking about the diamond industry as a whole and showing you some data and information from UNI Diamonds. And before going into UNI itself, I just thought it's always good to actually start out with some interesting data and statistics, because we hear a lot about the world and some consumers being concerned about how much mining impacts the world and how natural products are impacting Mother Earth, etc. So I thought it's important to actually look at the facts. Now, if you take mining holistically, that's mining for coal, copper, gold, platinum, everything that's within your cell phones, everything that creates the products that we actually use on a daily basis, if you take all of that and all of the mines that are all around the world and bring them together and add up how much of the world's land it actually takes up about 100,000 square kilometers, 38,600 square miles. That's less than 0.007% of the land that the world has. And if you want a better way of looking at it, if you take Italy, the boot, and if you cut it in half, the upper half of that is equivalent to how much land is used in mining. Yet that much land that's used in mining actually produces almost half of the world's GDP. your cell phones, your computers, the products that you wear, the products that you put on your hands, your cars, your houses, the buildings that you go and work in, the glass that's used to shelter yet allow you to be able to see the beautiful views outside. Every product that we use and everything that we do mined in that small amount of space. Okay, so who's UNI and why am I here? Quickly, UNI analyzes roughly about 1 million diamonds on a daily basis, roughly about $3.5 billion of inventory every single day. We took that data and we decided to do various things with it. So we have roughly about 3,000 customers around the world and more than 260 vendors in natural, about 400 vendors overall if you consider everything else that we do. So we took this data and we said, all right, we're going to do a few things with it. The very first thing that we started to look at is create a marketplace to allow diamonds to be sold to retailers, to jewelry manufacturers, and to wholesalers. So it's a live platform, and that's what differentiates us from anyone else, that actually takes all of this data and helps sell the products downstream. We took that data and created an analytics tool, which is what I'll be talking about today. And in addition to that, we partnered up with Malcolm Mead, who's one of the shareholders for UNI. And like Amazon, we become kind of the midstream marketplace. You order your product, you don't have to worry about it. We take care of everything else, from logistics, shipping, insurance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's UNI as a whole. Not going to spend that much more than that on who UNI is. Now, the data product that we developed was specifically made to actually allow the industry to understand what's happening. There is no opinions about what's going on. There is no what-ifs about how the industry's doing. It's based on actual facts about how diamond prices are moving, what the supply is in the market, and where the market is going to. And we do this for both natural and lab-grown diamonds. This chart, some of you are very familiar with. It's not mine, it's Bain's. It's to remind us that the diamond industry is a very cyclical industry, right? The industry continues to move up and down. We've seen at least 5 cycles in some of our lifetimes. Some are a bit younger, perhaps. But we've seen at least 5 cycles in our lifetime of diamond prices moving up and moving down. Some of it has to do with world effects, where the 2008, for example, market crashed. Some of it has to do with challenges and issues of overstock in our own industry and stocking challenges. And one of the themes that you're going to hear me talking about today a lot is around the stocking of our industry and how it moves based on supply and demand and everything else. Now, this is from UNI. If you look at the data from 3 years ago till today, you'll see that diamond prices drastically went up, and then you started seeing the diamond prices coming down on the natural side. And what's important is, right now, if you're looking at the industry as it stands today, it's become pretty stabilized, which is a good thing. But the question is it going to last? If you look at the stock in the market, of how much stock came in overall and what happened to the stock, you saw that at the same time that the prices were going up, the stock actually started coming up as well. Now, this is where the mismatch occurred in the natural diamond business. Because when the supply went up and prices continued to go up, we as an industry believe that nothing will stop us and it will continue to move up. In fact, if I were to actually, in a second, I'm going to be showing you how the supply and demand actually worked. But as the inventory started coming down, you actually started seeing the market stabilize, right? Now, what happened in the prices of lab-grown diamonds. So if you look at lab-grown diamonds and the index on lab-grown diamonds, you saw a steady business. But as technology evolved and as things started to actually change in the business, and as supply started increasing in the lab-grown business, prices started to come down. How many of you guys own a OLED 4K TV? Some of you, good. How many own an OLED TV? OLED TV. Now, when those TVs first came out, the price of a 65-inch OLED TV was about $10,000. Today, you can buy one for $750. And not a no brand, no name. I'm talking about a Samsung. Same size, same product. Why? Why did it go from $10,000 to $700? Because technology improved, processes improved, systems improved. And that should not be any different for a technology-led product. Lab-grown diamonds are a technology-led product. They are not a natural product. They don't come from Mother Earth. You put a seed in, you turn the machine on, uses a heck of a lot of pressure, a heck of a lot of electricity, a bunch of gases, and you grow a product. Now, when you streamline the product, when you streamline the processes, and you continue to evolve those processes, then you're going to get a cheaper product. Is that going to stop today? We don't think so. Is it going to go down even further in lab-grown? Yes. Because it is a technology-led product. And when the volumes increase, when the product amount increases around the world, competition increases and therefore prices will come down. In fact, if you look at what happened in the industry overall, what you're going to see is the natural diamond business went up about 43%. Now, why did it go up so much? How could this industry actually go up so quickly? You guys, majority of you are from the industry and recognize it and see it. COVID happened. What did COVID do? It created this pent-up demand, a demand that was there, but it couldn't be fulfilled because the consumers could not go out to do anything. Now, as the world started to open up, the very first things that opened up were retail stores within the local environment. And imagine someone who hasn't been able to see their loved one for the past year or two. Imagine being bubbled up in a small group, not being able to go out. What's the first thing you're going to do as a consumer? You want to tell the person that you love, you want to tell the person that you appreciate how much you appreciate them, how much you care about them. And what do you do that with? You do that with a natural diamond. You go buy an engagement ring. You go buy a necklace. You go buy a bracelet. You give them something that says, I love you. So that pent-up demand created a demand for natural diamonds. And that demand for natural diamonds created a shortage for natural diamonds. And that shortage created a price increase that went up 43%. Not only it went up 43%, in diamond sales, we had a couple of our best years ever. $90 billion of diamond jewelry sales in the United States alone. The best record prior to that was 60. So when you have so much demand, the entire industry thinks, wow, that's it. Diamond prices should go up. They should continue to go up. And then the rest of the world opens up. Our true competition opens up. What is our true competition? Travel, luxury experiences, things that we didn't have not just for 2 years, but an additional year or so because we were enjoying so much the fruits of a part of the world opening up and not the whole thing. And when the world opened up, things started normalizing. And that normalization, what it created was a bunch of supply that came into the market, didn't know what to do with it, and then demand for natural diamonds decreased, but not in a negative way. And this is where I think we as an industry need to reconsider how we communicate. The watch industry decreased so much in the past few years. Have you heard the watch industry talk about how bad it's doing? The luxury watch industry, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, Rolex, all of those wonderful brands that we all love, actually sold less. But nobody said this is the end of the luxury watch world. You know, this brand or that brand is going to go down. This brand or that brand has lost its luster. But we do. The diamond industry does. Google diamonds. The first 100 things that you see, more than half of it is about how diamonds have lost their luster, how diamonds are not valued the same as they were 5 years ago. Well, if I'm a consumer, and I'm a consumer in Asia, I'm a consumer in India, or other parts of the world that value matters, and the first thing that I see is diamond has lost its luster, prices have come down drastically, blah, blah, blah. Am I going to go buy a diamond? No. If you normalize, if you take out the wonderful years or the wonderful year that we had in our industry and you normalize the market, we actually went down by about 13%. Less than 20%. Right? If you take out that cream of the crop year, that was an exceptional time, our downturn wasn't really a drastic downturn, guys. But this is not because of a downturn. This is not going to go up. As technology improves and as volumes improve, the prices will continue to come down. Today, you can buy in wholesale business a 1 carat lab grown for about $100 if it's not certified. You can easily be able to see that going down to $60 to $50 a carat. It is going to come. It will continue to go down. Some data around market prices and diamond index in the last 30 days. Now, as you can see, prices did stabilize, slightly have increased, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. We have some green shoots. It's been positive, but the natural diamond business still has a ways to go for it to come back to what I would call a normal place for the business to be in. And I'll explain why in a minute. If you look at lab grown, I've picked one category, which is, if you look at lab grown, that's the normal category of lab grown. If you look at natural diamonds, we usually say the category that we look at that kind of stabilizes or everything goes around is a 1 carat, GH color, VS quality type of goods. Well, for lab grown, it's a 2 carat. If you look at how prices have changed, and you can see there are two different prices. This is purely based on certificate price. IGI has a lower cost of certificate. GIA has a higher cost of certificate. Therefore, there's a slightly different price in those types of goods. There was a little bit of hope that maybe GIA goods can actually give better pricing. Didn't work, flattened out, and the prices are flattened, irrelevant of it's IGI certified or GIA certified. So the prices are very consistent. For a 2 carat, it's about $228 per carat on an IGI certified lab-grown diamond. If you look at that in a VS2, it's about $228, and as you can tell, you can see the prices are pretty flat and slightly going down. Now, let's look at a 1-carat GVS quality triple X no fluorescence, the standard of our industry. As you can tell, prices did go up. They've stabilized, and they're remaining stable. But there is one challenge that we still have yet to overcome, and that is the supply and demand. Because as we saw supply going down, we started seeing prices stabilizing, things getting better. Now, as supply is starting to come up, and it will come up, it shouldn't be a surprise. The Indian community did not buy diamonds for November, December of last year. Was it November and December? Yeah? Now, as they started to buy diamonds, because factories woke up, the holiday season's finished, there was a need for stock and inventory, there has been a purchase of somewhere around $2 billion of rough, which will equivalent to around $2.5 to $3 billion of polish. It shouldn't surprise anyone that demand is going to come up. However, there will be another price correction that will happen sometime mid this year around polish prices, which we're forecasting, which is why the rest of my presentation will be about what do we do to overcome this. If you look, there are lots of green shoots. In every single type of goods, when you look at UNI's platform, and this changes every day, by the way, prices do not change a week, every month, etc. Every single day, there's a slight difference in pricing, right? If you look at all the categories in 1 carat or 1.2 carat to 1.49 carat or any of the other categories that we track, you see that prices are changing every single day. That's happening because items that are available are performing differently. There are items that are moving faster. There are items that are moving slower. Supply and demand is the fundamental aspect for the natural diamond business. And as we continue to see changes within the industry and changes within overall performance, we're going to continue to see a different world for our natural diamonds. Why? Because if you look at the natural diamond business, we never had really a competition, did we? We compared ourselves to luxury holidays. We compared ourselves to vacations that families take together, to furniture, expensive furniture that people buy together. Well, there's this thing called lab-grown now. And lab-grown has been able to market itself as another competition to natural diamonds. Now, whether we believe it is or it's not, it's taken up a percentage of our business. In the past 5 years, if you look at the US data, and US data I look at purely because it's the most mature data. Lab-grown hasn't grown up that well or hasn't matured that much in Asia. It hasn't matured itself in India in any way, but it has in the US. And this is something similar that Asia and or India will go through should lab-grown become an interesting product for the consumer. What we saw, and this is just not from us, it's also from Tenoris BI, and a special thank you to them for providing us some additional data. What we saw was somewhere between half and half sales of natural and lab-grown within the retail space in the United States. But what was really, really encouraging was that more of the independent retailers actually went back to selling natural diamonds this year in the United States than the previous year. That is a very important message. But why has that happened? Well, if you're buying a product for $200, you're going to sell it for $2,000 with the setting $2,500. It's going to give you a $2,000 margin, right? If you buy a product for $4,000, and you're selling it for $8,000, you're going to get about a $4,000 margin. So a lot of the independent retailers are looking at this going, I can't survive with these numbers. I cannot survive with lab-grown numbers continuously. It's just not going to work. And it's going to get worse when you have a wonderful retailer in the United States, which all of you know, named Walmart, who's going to be coming up with a $699 1-carat pendant ring. Well, the rest of the retailers around the United States can't sell their 1-carat ring or pendants for $2,500 anymore. They're going to have to come down on their prices. And when they come down on their prices, they very quickly realize it's either move to natural or go bust. Why go bust? Okay, so for 5 years, the retail industry has continued to grow, and they brought in new consumers to buy lab-grown diamonds. Consumers that would have never bought a natural diamond. Why? Because it was out of their price level. Those consumers came in. It increased the volume of consumers that actually showed interest to diamonds. So one question that I'm always asked is lab-grown diamonds bad for the industry? Is it bad for the natural diamond industry? No. Because I remember when I was a child, I said this in a meeting in India. When I was a child, one of my most favorite things to do was to buy a plastic Swatch watch. Any of you guys own a Swatch or owned a Swatch when you were younger? See? That Swatch to me was so great. It was Swiss made. It had a battery in it, plastic. It was Swiss made. I wanted that. Excuse me. I wanted to have a watch that I would be proud of. That I would, in those days we used to say cool. That I would actually look cool. Well, that watch led me to say, okay, so when I'm in my 20s, I want an Omega. When I'm in my 30s, I want a Rolex. When I'm in my, well, whatever, I'll have a Patek, right? It gave me the inspiration and desire to want to buy. When I was an executive at De Beers, one of the interesting data that we realized based off of some research that we had done was, if we give a woman a natural diamond, it will equivalent to 5 more purchases of diamonds in their future. So I ask you, who cares if it's lab-grown or natural? That first purchase. If I give my daughter a lab-grown earrings, which tomorrow she can lose, hell, I don't mind. If she loses one, I'll just get another one. Is that a bad thing? No, because it starts getting the consumer interested about diamonds. Well, we did some research. We asked a lot of those same consumers with our retail partners that we have in the US, tell me, why did you buy a lab-grown diamond? Why not a natural diamond? Too many costs, bought a house, planning a wedding, doing this, doing that. Our first purchase is a lab-grown diamond. Will your next purchase also be a lab-grown diamond, or would you consider natural? Almost 80% of those consumers said they would not only consider natural, they would actually like to buy natural. You have now opened up the world to a consumer that never actually thought about natural diamonds until they got the taste of a diamond. Now, where do we stand from here, and why is that an important data? Because we see consumers have this desirability for diamonds, we need to make sure that we take this opportunity now and do as much as we can to ensure that the consumer remembers why natural diamonds are so great. And that can only be done through retailers marketing consumers. It should be done supported by the rest of the industry, like the mining companies and the NDC, to be able to create that desire for natural diamonds. I always say, and I used to say this at De Beers, if it doesn't touch me in my heart, you should not market that. For diamonds, right? A diamond is such a personal product. It is about me as an individual doing something well, and I deserve to buy a diamond, and therefore I will. It is about the love that I have between myself and my partner, and I want to give them something that is everlasting. And what better product is there other than natural diamonds to do that with? And we need to continue to market that. That is where our focus for the next few years has to be. Because if we do not market, we're going to create issues and challenges for ourselves. And my last thought on this page is we need to be better at uniting. Right? The different organizations and industry bodies that we have in our great industry. You know, I have to salute WFDB, and I have to salute WDC, and IDMA, and all of those different groups that came together. They came together for one cause. If you guys haven't filled out the survey, by the way, for the G7 protocol that the WFDB pulled out, I hope each and every one of you do it. Because it's times like this, when we come together, we can show what greatness we actually have as an industry. It is not about one organization doing better than the other. It's about the whole being so much bigger than each individual part. And that is one of the most important things, because if we look at the categories of diamonds, if we look at what diamonds are, and if we look at mining within those diamonds, a bunch of those goods are actually the lower quality diamonds. The stuff that basically make up majority of the mine, 60 to 70% of it, are lower quality products. Places like Zimbabwe, like DRC, Angola, even Botswana. Now, if we actually have prices continue to diminish, those mines are not going to be profitable to be able to mine. And if they don't, then more of this stuff will come out. More and more news about luxury houses thinking about lab-grown, this company and that company going into lab-grown, etc., etc., etc. That's why marketing natural diamonds is so important and so critical. Now, De Beers did this. They had done this campaign before. A lot of people actually took this in a questionable way, because De Beers announced that they're spending $20 million on marketing this product of Seize the Day campaign in the end of the year last year. There just was one word missing, $20 million more, right? De Beers spends hundreds of millions of dollars every year on marketing. Now, whether that's given to NDC, whether they do it for their own brands or whatever it is, they still market diamonds. And they decided to spend another $20 million on marketing. One of the most exciting things, which I heard recently with Chatai Fook and also a retailer in the United States, is the collaboration between the mining company and the retailers to actually market. Yes, that's what we need. We need people to come together that understand their consumers. De Beers is a great mining company. They're a great marketing machine, yes. But the people who understand their consumers in Asia should be involved in marketing the Asian customers. The people who understand the consumers in India should be the ones who actually market the consumers in India. It should be a collaboration of people coming together, companies, great companies coming together to be able to transform our business. That is where we need to be. NDC did some great things in the past few years. They got our name out. They were able to actually create machinery, test or validate machinery that actually tests whether a diamond is natural or lab-grown. Yeah? And that, I think, it was one of the most important things for NDC to put out there, so we all can utilize the machineries knowing which ones are good and which ones are not. And using the right machinery to test is very critical, because at the end of the day, we need the consumer's confidence. I believe I'm almost close to the end, and I also do believe that we need to do more. We need to do more, and we need to collaborate more, and we need to market more, and we need to gain the consumer's confidence. Because we only have a few more years to be able to really capture the confidence of the consumer. Consumers have become very, very emotionally attached to the products that they're buying. So not only you have to get them in the heart about what diamonds are, but you also have to capture them in a different way than before. Which doesn't mean that you should say things that you're not doing. But our industry, more than most industries in this world, has been working on the SDGs and has been working on sustainability and supporting the communities that they live in for longer than many, many other industries. But we just haven't been able to talk about it. We need to tell those stories. We need to talk about what an Indian manufacturer in India does for its community. Educating kids from the age of 4 to the age of 18, free of charge. Creating hospitals and charging only what's required and not charging if the person can't afford it. These are wonderful things that we could be talking about, and we're not. We should. And we should also talk about the data of why natural diamonds are so important and such a gift of Mother Nature. You know, again, going back to my De Beers days, we used to explain how a natural diamond is created. Imagine billion years ago, a fire occurs, a piece of log burns so hot that it actually transforms into a very dense piece of coal or graphite. Then the earth piles up on top of it, and this continues to go down underneath the earth's crust, so much so that you have to take the Eiffel Tower, flip it upside down, hold it on your finger like this, if you can. That pressure is how much pressure is required to melt that graphite piece into a crystalline that with heat that's underneath the ground could transform itself to becoming a diamond. Those are the odds of a diamond becoming a diamond. So when someone says, oh, diamonds are not rare, really? I agree that lab-grown diamonds are not rare, because you could just put it in Uncle Ralphie's chamber, put some gas in it, and create it, and voila, you have it. There's another meeting in case you need to go to that meeting. Yalla. I'm on my last page, which is great. The very last thing that I want to say is, if you think about how much natural diamonds impact the world, more than 10 million people's livelihoods around the world are dependent on natural diamonds. 5 million people have access to health care because of natural diamonds. We should be screaming this off the top of our lungs. And the moment we do, and the longer we tell these stories, the better natural diamonds will do. Now, as I said, I'm leaving right after this presentation. So I wanted to thank all of you for your time. And if you need to get a hold of me, you can scan that. That will get you to my WhatsApp number. If you have any questions or concerns, I'd be happy to answer them. But I wanted to thank you for your time and look forward to seeing you guys again. Oh, I'll give it to them. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahiar. It's such an important message on so many levels. The confidence that we should have about our product and the tension that we often have felt whether lab-grown is a competing or complementary product to the natural one is something that gives a lot of food for thought. And that idea that it should be an entry product that inspires further diamond purchases of natural diamonds is one that we can take with confidence. And so thank you, Mahiar, for giving great context to the state of the diamond industry as we see it at the moment. So we are waiting for as you saw, there's another meeting that's going on now. So I think we'll wait a few minutes before we start the opening session as the Vice Mayor is about to arrive and join us in our meeting. So we'll resume shortly. Have a drink and relax and mingle amongst each other. But I think stay in the hall would be best. Thank you.